Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your daily tarot and astrology reading for Wednesday, September 18th of 2024. Appreciate you all joining me in this video. Trusting you guys are having a wonderful week. How's that full moon? Lunar eclipse in Pisces. Sorry, my cat's down here trying to get me. How was that full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces? At the time of me making this, it is apexing. The moon's at 25 degrees right now. So I know I haven't made the weekly video. The weekly video will be coming out shortly. I'm either going to make it tonight or early tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. I haven't quite decided, but I will be making that weekly video sometime in the next 24 hours. So don't worry, that is coming. But let's go ahead and hop into today's energies, see what we got going on, see how you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. Trying to distract my cat down here. What we got? We have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. The Three of Pentacles in reverse. This could speak to potential, teamwork breaking down. But I think, honestly, this is just about finding the right teammates and finding the right cohesion. Really, the way I'm kind of feeling this energy with this card is things may feel a little bit off, like the cohesion is not quite there. Maybe communication can be a little bit off too. But this is something that we need to work on a little bit more today. That card is followed up by the Six of Swords in reverse. So the Six of Swords always talks about needing to kind of get away, kind of escape, go on some sort of adventure. With it being in reverse, this is this idea that the answer is out there and that we have to go away on some sort of journey or some sort of sabbatical to find the answer. It's not quite out there. And I think that's the thing about this too. Maybe with the Three of Pentacles in reverse, maybe the teamwork is a little bit shaky, maybe communication is a little bit off, so that can cause a sort of cloud of just well, shoot, this isn't going the way I thought it was going to go. Maybe it'll be better if I go somewhere else, or maybe it'll be better out there. And like I said, this is going to be about realizing that when things are a little bit uncomfortable, when communication isn't necessarily the best, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to throw the entire thing away, right? It just means that, we have to work on those things a little bit more. And sometimes you just have days like that. I feel like on a personal level, on a soul level, this can be maybe different aspects of yourself or different aspects of your life, trying to find the cohesion with them, like your work life, your home life, the you that you present when you're around your parents versus your kids versus your friends versus your lover versus whatever, the different aspects of you, trying to find the balance and the cohesion with all that. The answer is not going way out somewhere to find it. The answer is actually confronting it head on, right? And it's an interesting day to confront things head on, especially emotionally, because we do have the moon that will shift into Aries today. So now people are going to be definitely a lot more up here in their head, because Aries does rule the head emotionally. So now that the moon's in Aries, people are going to be reacting, responding in a more Aries-like fashion. So very, very impulsive, very, very quick to respond. And that can, depending upon the person, can present itself in a negative way, but it could also be very positive if you can show, a reason for the passion or a structure to the passion. But if you're just popping off just because all this buildup of energy with this full moon lunar eclipse, and then the moon slides into Aries and conjuncts the North Node today, it definitely is sort of like shaking up a bottle, right? Because Pisces is liquid, right? It's mutable water, so it's literally liquid. This full moon lunar eclipse with Neptune, with Saturn, right? It's like shaking up a bottle and just shaking it incessantly, and just shaking it and shaking it and shaking it. And then when the moon gets to Aries, it pops, right? And that can either be, it can be very messy potentially. It can also be, if we take that energy and harness it into something that's constructive and positive, then we can really do some cool things with it. But you will see on this hump day that with the moon going into Aries, if you thought people were sensitive with this moon in Pisces, because I felt like the moon in Pisces, at least for me, I was brooding, and And I think for me, which is why I actually didn't make the weekly video earlier, because I wasn't really in the best energy, the best headspace and stuff too, right? Kind of needed today to just rest. And Pisces is about that. It's about rest. Now that the moon goes into Aries, people are not going to be doing that as much. The other interesting thing about this day, though, is the fact that we do have Mercury opposing Saturn. That's why I said that it's got to make sense, because Mercury in Virgo is looking for the facts. It's sketching out all of the details, right? And then Saturn in Pisces is about, of course, that spiritual integrity and what's in line and actually doing the spiritual work. And I think the part about this is that, like, if we're doing the work and we're realizing that the different illusions that we may cast on ourselves, the different spells that we may cast on ourselves, Mercury has an ability to kind of see through a lot of those details. Saturn right here is really helping us to define a lot of, like, what is your vision? What are your dreams? And Saturn is helping us to define that, being here in Pisces. And it doesn't necessarily always like feel fun to have to go through that process, but it's needed. We need to be able to define our dreams. We need to be able to define those passions, what we want to go, what we want to create, the fantasies that we have, right? Mercury can help a lot of the details, but Saturn is here to kind of is here to like really get to brass tacks. I'm like, okay, what is it going to take to build this, right? So you have one aspect where it's like the builder energy, Saturn is like the boss, then you have Mercury, which is all over the place, trying to get all the fine little details and everything, especially here in Virgo, right? So it's going to be one of those days where, and like I said, throwing a moon and Aries on top of that, and the fact that that moon will actually square Mars by the end, in the evening, right? So 8 degrees, so around 6:41, we'll see that moon square Mars. Now, at least there's mutual reception here, because the moon would rather be in Cancer and Mars would rather be in Aries. So there is some mutual reception here. But I think, like I said, this is about like how emotionally we maybe want to be quick to respond, but then Mars is the way that we actually act. Moon is react, Mars is act. So it's like we want to react quickly and impulsively. Mercury is wanting us to kind of think things through a little bit. Saturn is wanting us to define things a bit. These bigger dreams, these bigger visions, is wanting us to define those things. And Mars in Cancer, it's got to be like, well, it may not necessarily be super comfortable to act in a way that's not going to just, it's got to be measured, if you will. That's what I'm getting right here. That's what I'm channeling. It's got to be measured. You can't just go for it. You can't just act. You can't just not have like any kind of plan at all. And just to kind of go for it. But I think there's still an element here where we are kind of experimenting a lot. And I think a lot of that's the Jupiter and Gemini. Jupiter and Gemini is definitely experimenting with the different tools and the different tricks and these different ideas. It's experimenting with all that, seeing what works, seeing, what works as far as like, the painting goes, trying different methods, trying different strategies, So I think the one thing that, needs to be consistent is the action itself. I think this is still a good time to do your experiments, to take your trials, to try and figure things out. Mercury, like I said, is in Virgo, it's moving forward. It's out of its shadow, right? So that's the good thing about this, But Virgo season is a time where it's mutable Earth, where we start to strategize, where we start to adjust things. And we're still in the season for the next 4 days, right? So utilize this time to observe, to adapt, to try not to have such knee-jerk reactions to things. There's going to be a propensity and a desire and a want to just have knee-jerk reaction to things, especially with Chiron here with the moon. But we don't need to have those knee-jerk reactions. And yes, it may feel a little bit more uncomfortable to, it's almost like we have to like shake the bottle, and it's like we really want to just loosen the top and just let it spew out, right? Maybe we just kind of sit there. We just put the bottle down and not shake it anymore and let it settle. And I think that's the part. It felt like humanity, I felt like we've been shaken up like this so much, and people want to just take the top off and just let it explode. But it's like, no, some of that anxious energy, some of that apprehension is the fact that now we have to like settle a little bit. We have all these planets that are retrograding, right? We have Mars way out of bounds, right? You have Uranus retrograde, Chiron, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto. The energy we have, there's this settling kind of energy to it. It just feels weird because we've been shooken up so much, and there's so much extra fizz and bubbles and stuff. But now we're just getting a moment to kind of just settle. So try not to fall for the hype. Try not to get too absorbed into the Neptune land, all of the like the media stuff, the Wizard of Oz kind of energy and all that. Try not to get sucked up in all that, but focus on you and your journey and what you can do to affect change in your life. Final card. At the Ten of Wands, it can feel heavy. It can feel heavy, but you know what? Sometimes, in order to build great things, you have to carry heavy things. In order to build a house, you have to carry heavy wood. And yes, it's like you either carry it or you can use some sort of tool or machine to carry it. But yeah, it's like that's the thing about this. Like, what are you trying to build, right? If it's big, of course, it's going to feel heavy at times, and it's going to feel like a load. And I think that's the thing about today. I think, especially with Mercury opposing Saturn, it's going to kind of mentally feel a little heavy, right? It's going to feel a little mentally heavy today, and that's why the moon in Aries is going to kind of make people a little bit more emotionally spastic and all over the place and shit. But Mars is in Cancer, so we have to like find a way to take action even if we're not necessarily the most comfortable, right? We have to learn how to be okay with the uncomfortable, right? So sometimes we carry heavy shit, but that just means that you're trying to build something freaking awesome. That's the way that we gotta look at it, right? I have the throat chakra. I did say that there was going to be like, it's interesting. Yeah, the throat chakra is the one that comes up. So it's going to be a day where, I think certain conversations are going to, probably happen today. And, you may want to just be quick to say certain things and stuff, but I would just, be wary of that sort of thing. Open your throat chakra up. Don't stifle it. Don't push it down, whatever like that. Maybe it'd be a good idea today to kind of write things down, or shoot, speak it into like a voice recorder app and then listen back to it, especially if you feel like you have a lot of thoughts that are kind of just like stuck up here and stuff like that, and you can't really get it out. Write it out, speak it into something, and then listen back to it, or just trash it, but get the energy out in a way. That will be a better way to have the energy settle instead of just popping off on somebody, because that's the kind of day where it is. People are going to be popping off on people left and right today. And it's because it's after an eclipse, so everyone's already sensitive as fuck, and it's Pisces, so it's deep and it's hidden shit. And a lot of people may not necessarily be aware of the things that may be being released or unlocked within them, but when the moon goes into Aries, they'll just be popping off here, left, right, up, down, like it's... You'll see it. You'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. So just keep that in mind, and you'll be good. That's going to do it for today for your daily tarot and astrology reading. I trust that this message will assist you on this hump day. Like I said, I will be doing the weekly forecast. Like I said, I may make it either sometime tonight, tomorrow morning, or tomorrow night. But it will come soon. I promise. But y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you all next time. Peace.